What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Before we get started, I want to hit y'all with a prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for waking us up this morning. Dear Lord, thank you for another day, Lord. Thank you for the ups and the downs, Lord. Thank you for getting us through every trial and tribulation that life has put us up to, Lord. Thank you for always having our back, dear Lord. Thank you for the other person watching this video on the other side, dear Lord. Help give them the strength to continue to grow, continue to be better for you and for themselves, dear Lord. Lord, help them to know that whenever life throws its tough battles at them, that you will always be there for them, dear Lord. Help open their eyes to see who you truly are, dear Lord, and help us to get closer to you again today, dear Lord. With that being said, dear Lord, amen. So first off, I want to apologize for not being able to post for the last couple of days. I have been away, but I am back now, so I have some stuff for y'all. I know before I left, I was kind of going over some spiritual fitness drills, but I kind of wanted to stay away from that for a little bit and kind of go over where I was at and kind of go over my mental state, because at the end of the day, I did these YouTube videos to kind of talk about my journey personally. And, you know, I want to go out there and spread the word, but I also want to kind of give y'all some insight on how it looks for a normal person going with their journey to Christ, going back, and how that looks. So as you know, I went to Mississippi and I was doing that stuff there. And so each day I kind of wrote down in my notes some stuff that I want to talk to y'all about, and kind of how it relates to, like, you know, how it relates to Christ, you know, how it relates to a journey going back with Christ. So the first day, the first day was bad for me personally. It was very stressful. Yeah, I mean, that first day, it was, we left Sunday, and Sunday was very stressful. I know the ride to Mississippi was about 2 hours long, and usually on bus rides and rides like that, I knock out, go to sleep, put some music on, but that ride, I couldn't really, sleep because I was so stressed. You know, I was stressed about stuff that I had to worry about for later in the week, specifically Monday, and I'm gonna get more into that, tomorrow when I talk about day 2, but I kind of want to give y'all the insight. Yeah, it was stressful. So basically, just remember, as a Christian, every day is not going to be a really good day. Every day is not going to be bright. You know, I know I talked about seeing the positive and seeing the light. And, you know, that's something that I kind of struggle with, you know, especially that first day. It was hard for me to kind of see the light in my situation. But that's one thing one thing about the Army that I put is that one thing about the Army for me is that it takes me a while to adjust, but I like that. What I mean by that is, you know, the Army is not something that anybody in my life would have told you that I would do. You know, I remember being in high school and I told my friends, I was like, I'd never join the Army. I would never do that. That's something I would never do. But look at me now, fast forward, 2025, I'm in the Army. I've been in for a year now. And like I said, it takes me a while to adjust because I'm not used to stuff like that. I'm not used to that atmosphere. I'm not used to that. But I do like it. I like the challenge. I like the uncomfortability because it makes me a better person and it helps me to grow. One thing about me personally was that I always try to run from uncomfortable situations. The Army forces me to be uncomfortable. So when I'm uncomfortable here, I can't get away from it. I have to embrace it, and I struggle with understanding how to do that. But now I call on God. Yeah, that was big. I know when I was younger, I used to try and run away from uncomfortable situations. I always try to do stuff that was comfortable for me, you know, stuff that I like to do, stuff that I know I was good at. You know, if I was put into a situation where I know I wouldn't strive, I would kind of try to stay away from it because, you know, I didn't like defeat. I didn't like being uncomfortable. You know, I don't like to fail. I still don't. I don't like to fail. But the thing with the Army is, what I like about the Army so much is that you're forced to do this. You know, you're forced to go out there and be in those uncomfortable situations. You know, there was times at basic where I was like, man, I cannot do this, especially the confidence course. You know, there was some stuff on the confidence course that I've never done before. And I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm not good at it. I'm going to fail. And it's like, I can't just be like, all right, well, I don't want to do it. I'm gone. I can't go nowhere. You know, if I literally try to leave, I'll go to jail, or I'd be a holdover and I'd stay there longer than I even really wanted to stay. So I was forced to do it. And, you know, that helped me to kind of see the light in all my, you know, seeing the light in the storm, you know, in the midst of the storm. Because even if I did fail, you know, if I failed, or, you know, if I ended up being like not confident and I ended up doing it, I could still look back and I was like, man, I really did that. You know, I never thought I could do that, and I actually did. But another big thing was it helped me call on God. You know, in those situations, I was like, man, I cannot do this with my own strength. I cannot do this alone. God, I need you. Like, I do. I can't do this by myself. And he was always there for me. He would always help pick me up. And so the next thing I put is, I'm telling y'all, man, God is so good. He gives you so much strength and peace. And I know that when I depend on him, he's gonna get me through whatever. And I love that about him. I do. You know, there was some stuff that I went through in basic training that I would not have been able to get through without God. You know, it was not like I could call on my family, call on my girlfriend, call on my friends every single day. I was only able to talk to them once a week. And sometimes on that week, they were busy. I mean, they had their own lives. But the thing about God is, man, God's always in our lives. You know, we're never going to call on him and he's going to be busy. God's devoted to us. He's devoted for us. He wants to see us succeed. He wants to see us happy. He wants to see us prosper. And I don't know how you can't love that. I don't know how you can't not want that. And the next thing I said was be okay with not being okay. I think that's big. You know, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, you know, and that's okay. You know, I'm not saying necessarily be negative all the time, but I mean, some days aren't going to be your best days, and that's okay. God understands that. God understands that we're going through tough times. Life is hard, especially with the stuff that we're going through now in life. It's hard. He understands that, you know, and he wants the best for us. And so just be okay with that. Be okay with not being okay sometimes. Be able to be like, Lord, I'm not okay. Today's not a good day for me. I'm not okay. Just give me the strength to just continue to go on so I can just get to the next day. And then he's all right with that. If he understands, he knows what we're going through better than we know what we're going through. As long as we can, you know, admit to him that we're not going through it, that we're not having the best day and not having the strength, he's going to give us that strength. He's going to give us that peace to keep it moving. Let God take control. You can't control everything in your life. Yeah, you can't. I mean, I know I tried to, you know, I tried to do things my way and it didn't end up how I wanted it to. So I would say most of the reason why I'm here is because I try to take control of my own life. You know, I try to do the things that I wanted to do, not the things that I needed to do, not the things that God wanted me to do. And, you know, I had some setbacks in my life. I think that's one of the reasons why baseball was taken away from me, is because, you know, I try to lean on my own strength and my own understanding. And God doesn't roll like that. God doesn't, you know, God's going to make you realize that, you know, hey, you need me. And so, yeah, I think you gotta let God take control. You know, God's gotta be our he's gotta be our bus driver. He's gotta be our pilot. He's gotta take control of our life. I put tomorrow's call day, and it's stressful for me because I've never been the guy that likes shooting. You know, I never shot. I remember the first time I ever shot a gun was a couple years ago with my friend Brady. He taught me how to shoot a shot. His grandpa taught me how to shoot a shotgun. That was the first time I ever shot a gun before in my life. But even then, I don't really like shooting. I'll shoot if I have to. You know, but I'm not that guy that's going to go out every time and go to the range and just go shoot for fun. I don't really like that. I really was never a gun guy. So, like I said, I'm decent at it, but I don't prefer it, so we will see. But I have to embrace my faults, ask for help when I'm not as confident as I want to be, and let God take control. Basically, man, that first day was hard on me. It was rough. And basically, the whole gist of this video is I want y'all to understand, you know, that you're not going to always have the best days. You're not always going to have the best, brightest days, but you know, you got to admit that. You got to talk to God about it. He's going to give you the peace and give you the strength to keep going, to keep moving. You know, I did that, and you're going to see in day 2 how I felt after, and how I got that peace, how I got that strength to keep doing what I had to do that next day. But just know that, you know, no matter what you're going through, no matter if you're having the best day of your life or the worst day of your life, call on God, let God take control of your life. You're going to be able to get through any mountain, any storm. I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I apologize again for not posting, but I'm going to be on my stuff this week, next week, and forevermore. I'm going to continue with my journey. Hopefully y'all keep staying tuned. Y'all keep commenting, showing love, doing all that y'all got to do. Thank y'all so much for watching the video. I'll be back tomorrow.